Unit 8 Review, Question 19. Jenny spends 4 out of every $5 she earns on food and rent. We are asked to find what percent of her income does she spend on food and rent. So notice we're asked to find a percent, and here is the relationship we use for percents. A percent is an amount over a whole, and then we multiply that by 100. So notice, what are we asked to find the percent of? Whatever's following of is going to be our whole. So here we have of her income. So her income is the whole. And the amount that we're comparing to the whole is the part, in this case, the amount she spends on food and rent. So we need this ratio, and we aren't actually given her specific income or the specific amount she spends on food and rent. We're given a simplified ratio of 4 out of every $5. So the part she spends on rent and food is $4 out of every total whole $5. Okay. And now we're going to multiply that by 100, and I'm going to put the percent symbol in here, 100%, and we're going to think of percent as our unit. Then we'll remember to put it in our answer. That's a good habit. And we're going to multiply 4 divided by 5 times 100, which equals 80. So our answer is 80%. So she spends 80% of her money on food and rent. Let's look at the next one. Devarian made 5 free throw shots for every 2 shots he missed. Then we're asked to find what percent of free throw shots did he make. Round to 2 decimals as needed. So again, we're asked to find a percent. So we'll use this relationship, and notice it says percent of free throw shots. So this is our whole. So after the word of, this is our whole. And they say, did he make? So this will be our amount, the amount he made. So he made 5, there's the made. That's what I was looking for. He made 5 free throw shots for every 2 shots he missed. Okay, so notice, in this case, he made 5. So that's going to be our amount. Okay. But the number of free throw shots is not the other number 2. Okay, so we need the whole, the total number of shots as our denominator. And this would be 5 plus 2 equals 7. So he made 5 out of 7 free throw shots. Now we're going to multiply that by 100% to find the percent. We'll do that on the calculator, and we'll round. 5/7 divided by 100 gives us, rounding to 2 decimals, the hundredths place has a 2, that's an 8, so I'm going to round up to 71.43%. Let's look at the next one. Question 21. Complete the missing parts of the table, round decimals to 4 places and percents to 2 decimal places, and simplify any fractions. Okay, so we have a fraction, decimal, percent column, and we can write, for any fraction, we can write an equivalent decimal or a percent. And similarly for decimals and percents, we can write them in all of these forms. It's different equivalent forms of the same relationship. So down here I have a general guideline for if you have a fraction or a decimal, to change it to a percent, you multiply by 100. Okay? And to change a percent to a fraction or a decimal, you're going to divide by 100. Okay? So let's do these one at a time. We already learned in a previous section how to go from fractions to decimals and vice versa. Okay, so to write a fraction as a decimal, we could do long division, but we won't. We'll do this on the calculator by dividing 5 by 11. Notice for the decimals, we want to go to 4 decimal places. So 5 divided by 11 is well, 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places. The fifth place is a 4, so I'm going to round down to 0.45, 0.4545. Okay. So now I've written as a decimal. To go from a fraction or a decimal to a percent, we want to multiply by 100. Okay. So looking at the calculator, if we were going to go straight from the fraction, we divide 5 by 11, multiply by 100, okay? Or we could take this decimal version and multiply by 100. I'm going to multiply this answer right in here by 100. Okay. And notice it shifts the decimal place 2 places to the right because we're multiplying by 100. Remember, the direction said percents to 2 decimal places, which would be 45.45%. Okay. And this was intentional because 4 places as a decimal is equivalent to 2 places as a percent. Okay, so if we had just started with the 0.4545 multiply by 100, we'd get this exact answer without rounding. Okay. Now here we have a decimal. Okay, we want to write it as a percent and a fraction. Let's do the percent first. So again, from decimal to percent, very easy. We're just going to multiply by 100. So this is 100 and, I think I put 25, but it was a 4. So this is 124%. Okay. Percents can be greater than 100. Okay, so make sure you remember this process of which direction to move the decimal. That's why I prefer multiply by 100. You move it 2 places to the right. It's tempting to move it 2 places to the left here. Okay, now how do we write this as a fraction? We're actually going to write this as a mixed number because we have a whole number part. So we have 1, and remember what this means, 24 hundredths, so 24 over 100. It said to simplify any fractional parts. So I keep the whole number. Notice 24 and 100, their GCF is 4. You could divide them each by 2 if you want, but I have limited space, so I'm going to divide them each by 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6, and 100 divided by 4 is 25. Okay. So this is in mixed number or fraction form. If you want to exact an improper fraction, it would be 25 times 1 is 25, plus 6 is 31 over 25. Okay. This form is easier to turn into a percent or a decimal. You could just do the division. Okay. Now let's look at the last one. Now we have a percent, and we're going to a decimal and a fraction. So remember, we don't multiply by 100, we divide. Okay, so we're going to drop the percent sign and divide. So we have 0.89 divided by 100. And remember, dividing by 100 moves the decimal 2 places to the left. So it's 0.0089. 0.0089. Now you may have looked at this and wanted to write 89 here. Okay, and again, that's because we tend to think that all percents lie between 0 and 100, so a lot of times people move the decimal, so it does. Okay, so I did this on purpose, intentionally, to let you know. Remember to think of this process, okay, from percents to decimal or fractions, you're dividing by 100. To write this as a decimal, I would write 89 in the numerator, or as a fraction, excuse me. And now I write the place value here has 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros after a 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So it was the 10,000th place. So we have 89 over 10,000. Okay, 89 isn't divisible by 2 or 5, so this is actually completely simplified.